Today, we have to talk about one of the most explosive political moments we've seen in a long time, something that unfolded literally yesterday on November 20, 2025, and it's already sending shockwaves through Washington and beyond. President Donald Trump went on Truth Social, and in his classic all-caps style, accused a group of Democratic lawmakers of seditious behavior, punishable by death, because they put out a simple video reminding U.S. service members that they have a legal duty to refuse illegal orders. Yeah, you heard that right. Death penalty threats over a reminder about military law. So let's unpack this step by step, because this isn't just another Twitter spat. This feels like a genuine escalation in an already heated second Trump term. First, let's set the scene with what actually sparked all this. On Tuesday, November 18, a group of 6 Democratic members of Congress, all of them veterans or former intelligence professionals, released a short 90-second video directed at current military and intelligence community members. The lawmakers included Senator Elissa Slotkin from Michigan, who served as a CIA analyst in Iraq, Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona, a former Navy pilot and astronaut, Representative Jason Crow from Colorado, an Army Ranger veteran, Chrissy Houlihan from Pennsylvania, an Air Force veteran, Chris DeLuzio from Pennsylvania, another Navy vet, and Maggie Goodlander from New Hampshire with national security experience. In the video, they introduce themselves, talk about how they swore the same oath to the Constitution that today's service members did, and then they make the core point. They say the Trump administration is pitting the uniformed military against American citizens, that threats to the Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. And then they repeat several times, our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders. You must refuse illegal orders. No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution. We have your back. That's it. No specific orders mentioned, no call to mutiny against particular policies, just a straightforward restatement of established military law. Now fast forward to Thursday morning, and President Trump sees this video, reposts an article about it, and absolutely loses it. He writes, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors, lock them up." And then in follow-up posts, he escalates. Seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors should be arrested and put on trial. And finally, the one that made everyone's jaw drop, seditious behavior punishable by death. He even reposted some supporters calling for the lawmakers to be hanged, quoting George Washington. Now, the White House later tried to walk this back. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, no, the president isn't calling for anyone to be executed. He's just highlighting how serious this is. But come on, when the president of the United States writes punishable by death in all caps about sitting members of Congress, that's not subtle rhetoric, that's a threat. So why did this video hit such a nerve? Well, to understand that, we have to talk about the actual law here. Because the Democrats aren't making anything up. This principle goes all the way back to the Nuremberg trials after World War II, where following orders was explicitly rejected as a defense for war crimes. But in American law, it's crystal clear. The Uniform Code of Military Justice, specifically Articles 90, 91, and 92, require obedience to lawful orders. But service members have not just the right, but in many cases the duty to disobey manifestly illegal ones. An illegal order is one that violates the Constitution, U.S. law, or the laws of war. And courts have upheld this for decades. There's even a famous Department of Defense manual that trains troops on exactly how to identify and refuse unlawful commands. So when these Democratic vets say you must refuse illegal orders, they're literally quoting military training. Over 300 former national security officials from both parties released a statement yesterday saying exactly that. This is not controversial. It's not partisan. It's the bedrock of civilian control over the military and prevents atrocities. But from the Trump administration's perspective, this video landed like a call for insurrection. Stephen Miller called it openly calling for insurrection the day it dropped. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth dismissed it as Trump derangement syndrome, and Trump himself seems to see any suggestion that his orders could ever be questioned as a direct challenge to his authority as commander-in-chief. Remember, this is the same administration that's been aggressively deploying National Guard troops into Democratic-run cities for immigration enforcement and crowd control, moves that have already faced court challenges for potentially overstepping legal bounds. So when lawmakers preemptively tell troops, hey, remember, you don't have to follow illegal orders if we ask you to do something unconstitutional, the administration hears mutiny. The fallout was immediate and intense. The 6 lawmakers put out a joint statement saying, "What's most telling is that the president considers it punishable by death for us to restate the law." They said service members should know we have their backs when they follow their oath to the Constitution. And this isn't about politics. Every American needs to condemn the president's calls for our murder and political violence. Democratic leadership in both chambers condemned Trump's words as disgusting and dangerous death threats. They contacted Capitol Police for extra protection for these members and their families. Some lawmakers openly said they're now worried about their personal safety, because when a president says punishable by death, his most extreme supporters take it as permission. Even some Republicans push back. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he doesn't agree with talk of death penalties. Speaker Mike Johnson called Trump's rhetoric heated, but said he doesn't think these are crimes punishable by death, though he still criticized the Democrats for the video. But overall, GOP leadership has been pretty quiet, which is telling in itself. So where does this leave us? This incident crystallizes a deeper tension in Trump's second term, the growing fear among critics that he's willing to stretch executive power, especially over the military, in ways that test constitutional limits. And when anyone pushes back, even by citing the law, they get labeled traitors. It's reminiscent of how authoritarians throughout history have demanded blind loyalty from armed forces, but America was designed with safeguards precisely against that. The oath is to the Constitution, not to the president personally. Look, I'm not saying Trump is planning to issue blatantly illegal orders tomorrow, but the fact that a routine reminder about military obligations triggered this level of rage and threats tells you everything about how thin the margin feels right now. Civil-military relations are supposed to be apolitical. Troops follow the lawful directives of the civilian leadership, but that leadership has to stay within the law or the whole system breaks. If reminding people of that becomes sedition, then we're in very dangerous territory. This story is still developing. The Justice Department hasn't commented on any investigation, Trump hasn't walked it back himself, and Democrats are demanding apologies and deletions. Whatever happens next, this moment is going to be studied for years as a flashpoint in America's ongoing struggle with democratic norms under extreme polarization. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was the Democratic video responsible or reckless? Was Trump's response justified anger or an authoritarian overreach? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like if you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe and turn on notifications because things are moving fast. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.